Hello and welcome to Cruise 5. Human rights activism in Malawi now has a face, and the face is of the man that I'll be talking to in this show. Our guest today is Mr. Timoth Mtambo. He is the chairperson of the Human Rights Defenders Coalition and the executive director for the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, and a very well-known human rights activist here in Malawi. Welcome to Cruise 5.
Thank you.
And I'm meeting you at a very, very busy time in your career, probably, because you've been busy organizing demonstrations calling for the resignation of the chairperson of the Electro Commission in Malawi, Justice Dr. Chakhaza. So I do appreciate that you created time to talk to me. In fact, you almost lost your voice because yesterday was a fairly busy day.
Yes, my voice is actually gone.
Yeah.
I've had some sore throats, some problems.
Okay.
So with also engaging people, controlling multitudes. Yeah, it almost went, but I'm recovering.
Good.
Yeah, feeling better now. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we'd like to know more about our people and the things they do and the things they wear. And one of the things that I noticed you wear is that big bangle there. If it was in my village, it would be a very senior chief who would be wearing that. Does that have anything to do with you belonging to a certain chieftaincy in your village?
Yes, I belong to the Mtambos.
Okay.
We are the Chitipas, Mukombanyamas.
Okay.
That's our throne.
Okay.
And this bangle you see is over 200 years old. The previous chiefs, leaders of the Tambo clan, they were wearing this. So when I die, for sure, they will have to identify the next person to wear this.
Who wears it?
A person that wears this is a leader in our clan. It's for chiefs.
Okay.
You can't just wear this, and you know, it doesn't mean that I wear this for swag. Some people would think so, but when I wear this, it's a serious traditional business.
Can I take a closer look at it?
Yeah, you can.
Can I take a closer look at it?
It's basically very, very old. Very, very old.
So, but that doesn't make you a chief, does it?
It does. It does. I'm a traditional leader.
What's your name? What's your...
Simbega.
Simbega?
Yeah. So when Chitipa, I told you, is the throne for the Tambos.
Okay.
Mtambos. Mukombanyama. Yeah. So this is something that when people are anointed, they're given leadership, they're given this. So my grandfather was wearing this before he died, and it was given to me to be wearing.
But you stay here in Lilongwe, in town essentially.
Somebody is acting, is working on my behalf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask. That do you ever find time to go and discharge your role as a chief in the village?
I do go.
Okay.
I do go, but mostly with the technology.
Yeah.
When there are issues and matters in my village, they call me, they contact me, and I guide them.
So if I were to call you a chief, I would call you Chief Simbeye.
Simbega.
Simbega.
Yeah.
Chief Simbega.
So my name's Simbega is one of my names.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chief Simbega is our guest today in Cruise 5, Mr. Timoth Mtambo, and so I take it you originally come from Chitipa.
Yeah, Chitipa, that's my home village.
Tell us more about where you come from. And I see the smirk on your face.
Yeah, in fact, I know where that question is coming from.
It's not coming from anywhere. It's just coming from me wanting to know more about where you come from.
It's because of the propagandists that have been giving me different countries.
What's your...
Probably, if you're not aware, some people have been saying I'm from Burundi, DRC Congo, I'm from Zimbabwe, I'm from Zambia. They've given me many countries, but I am from Chitipa. I've done all my education here in Malawi. Okay. Of course, I was born here. My dad once worked in Zambia. He went to Zambia. He worked in the mines as a manager. So that was a brief time that we had
How old
shifted.
How old were you at this time?
I was very young.
Just
Actually,
a young boy.
I just did basic education in Zambia.
All right.
Before we came back.
But both your parents are Malawians.
Are Malawians.
But they had gone to work in Zambia.
And they're both from the royal family.
Okay.
My mother is Nyondo. The Nyondo, the Mwaburambians.
The Mwaburambians.
Yes. My father is Mtambo. The Chitipas. So I come from both royal families, and I laugh when people even give me other countries. But as a Pan-African, I feel good because I believe in Africa, and any country in Africa I would associate with.
But some people calling you Burundian isn't really connected to the Pan-Africanism. It's about something else, I guess.
No. In fact, it's just an aspect of thinking of embarrassing me. Just diverting my attention. That I should stop focusing on other issues of national importance, and I focus on these issues. But look, for me, any African is important to me, whether Burundian, whether DRC or whatsoever. So when people associate me with Africans, I feel good because I am an African and I'm a Pan-African. So it's not a problem. But the truth is I'm purely a Malawian, and probably Malawian more than some of the people that are even accusing me, because I'm a traditional leader. And in our tradition, for them to give you leadership, it's not easy. Our history as it tumbles dates from long time ago. We have shrines in Chitipa where our chiefs, when they die, they're buried, a number of them. So I'm very traditional. In the same measure, I am an activist.
Does Chief Simbega listen to music?
Yes, I do.
What kind of music do you like?
I like hip-hop.
Hip-hop music?
Yeah, I like hip-hop. The reason is that I don't like complaining. Most of the other songs, people complain. Hip-hop inspires me, especially when I'm down. When I listen to hip-hop, I feel good. And generally, I would say I like revolutionary songs. Be it reggae, be it hip-hop, as long as it has got a revolutionary message, I love them.
Why am I not surprised? He likes hip-hop and he likes revolutionary music. What's our first song going to be on this show today?
It should be Changes by Tupac.
Tupac Amaru Shakur. My goodness. Brilliant artist that one was.
The best.
I see no changes. Same things over and over again. Let's get to enjoy this song, Tupac by Amaru Shakur. Tupac with Changes. Things will never be the same. Kwanu munabadwa anthu angati?
Kwatu tiliko anthu ambiri. Ndinene kuti
kuchitipa amaloleza mitala kuchitipa.
Yes.
Makolo anu anali apa mitala?
No. My grandfather. Almost all my grandfathers. Anali ndi mitala. Even my grandfather, the one Simbega, Timothy. This name I was given from my grandfather. And when these boys say I'm a foreigner, I went to the village and I visited the shrine of my grandfather. And I told him to say, there is a certain group of people that are busy calling me a foreigner. I just felt like I should talk to him because he was my best friend. And he has inspired me in many ways. You see? So,
munabadwa anthu angati nyumba mwanu?
Nyumba mwatu, I would say we were born 8. The 4 boys and the 2 girls. But my grandfather had a lot. He had 4 wives. So he had a lot of. And
you being number what in the family?
I'm the 4th born.
The 4th born. All right. And kugula kuti Timothy wang'ono unakulira kuchitipa komweko kapena mmakhala moyoyenda kuti munopita kupita kapena kukula ndithu umakula mmudzi mmene anamakulira kumalawi kuno?
Ineyo ndithu ngati mmene ndanenera kuti ndinakhalako ku Zambia ndi mwana kwambiri. I think kufika chama standard 5. Pamene madara mabwerera. His father was very old. So he said, come and help me to administer our people. So my dad had no choice but to come back. So when we came back, I was around standard 6. But that time, Malawian education used to be a bit stronger.
Okay.
It was around 1996.
Yes.
So Malawian education was a bit stronger. So they dropped me a class
Okay.
to say I should start in standard 5.
Yeah. Okay.
So I started standard 5 at Isharikira Primary School.
Okay.
In my village.
Okay.
The village of which my grandfather was administering.
Okay.
So when I got there, I did my primary education at Isharikira.
Okay.
I passed my standard 8 exams.
Yeah.
Then I went to Yamba Community Day Secondary School.
Okay.
In Chitipa as well. So I did also at Yamba. I shifted to Twanda Private School right there in Chitipa.
Okay.
And that's where I wrote my MSc.
Okay.
And I was selected to go to Chancellor College.
Okay.
Where I did my studies. So I've been in Malawi since then.
What did you study at Chancellor College?
I did Bachelor of Arts, Humanities.
Okay.
And I specialized in philosophy.
Okay.
And demography, population studies.
I see.
Yeah.
After you studied at Chancellor College, what path did your life take? Because now we look at you as one of the prominent human rights activists in Malawi. But did you immediately jump into human rights activism, or you worked somewhere?
I've always been an activist ever since. As I said, my grandfather was a very powerful leader.
Yes.
He was a very, very strong fighter. He believed in social justice.
Okay.
So what happened, I grew up working with my grandfather.
Okay.
Every time he was presiding over cases in our village,
You would sit by his side.
I would always be with him.
Okay.
Every time he's meeting his council of elders, I'm there. So my grandfather never gave me an inch to be wasting time anywhere, because according to him, he said, I was born a leader. Actually, he used to tell me that I'm a destiny child. My grandfather used to tell me that. He said there was a prophecy that a child would be born in the family, and this would be the evidence when he's born. So when I was born, my grandfather was there, and things had happened. And he told my parents to say, a prophecy has been fulfilled. This is the son that we've been waiting for. So sometimes they're joking, they say, that prophecy was 100 years ago. So when I calculate my years, I add 100 years plus the 30 something. So I laughingly say, no, I'm 100 years and something.
Before that, you were just an idea.
Yes. So I say, okay. So I was conceived that time. You see what I mean? So it's something that it's a bit crazy.
Yeah,
I
know.
Looks theoretical.
Yeah.
But he used to tell me that every time and again.
Yeah.
He used to remind me that you are a leader, and every time he could tell me our history.
Okay.
I've actually documented our history.
All right.
Because he told me everything.
Yes.
You see.
Yeah.
So I have always been an activist.
Okay.
I've always been so passionate about children. So before I went to Chancellor College.
Yes.
After I wrote exams, MSc exams, before our results were out, after just finishing, I meant with one paper.
Okay.
I heard my name on radio.
Okay.
It was announced in the village to say, Timoth Mtambo and others, you have to go for a training in Mzuzu to be trained as child protection workers. Okay. So I was shocked. I never applied anything.
Yeah.
So the MP of our area, may so rest in peace, Mr. Honorable Msongore, he told me that, no, I submitted your name at Parliament. Because they told us they wanted child protection workers to support the social welfare department in fighting for the rights of children.
I see.
So immediately, I finished my secondary education. I went to the training. Okay. Like today, I finished. 2 days later, I went to the training. Okay. So after that, I became a child protection worker. Okay. So I was fighting for the rights of children. Okay. And I've always been passionate about children. So from then results came out. Okay. I was selected to Chancellor College. the college of my passion, the institution that I always wanted to go to.
Yes.
You see, because my dad wanted me to be a medical doctor, but my grandfather wanted me to be somebody who deals with social justice issues.
Okay.
So I followed the dream of my grandfather.
Okay.
And the Chancellor College was the best institution
Yeah.
that I thought I can fulfill that.
Okay.
So when I got to Chancellor College, I got involved in students' politics. I was the union speaker of Chancellor College. And that was the climax of my work.
Yeah.
I always look back and admire myself when I was a student activist.
Yeah.
I've always been a student leader from primary
Yeah.
up to the University Chancellor College. But even when I went to Europe to
Yeah.
do my master's in international cooperation and development, I was a leader of our class. So I've always fought for people's welfare wherever I am. So I think activism for me dates from far. Then I just worked a short time with the government, Ministry of Gender, because after I was trained as child protection worker,
Yes.
I worked with the Ministry of Gender. I was working as a child court-based social worker. It's probation work. Like I was at Blantyre Child Justice Court. So we are representing children in court, those children in conflict with the law,
Yes.
etc., etc. I worked there briefly until I met this family, which I consider as a blessing to me. You know, he was a managing director of a company. He took me from social work to marketing, sales and marketing.
Okay.
So I also worked as a sales and marketing personnel with Armor Paints and Coatings Limited,
Okay.
branded as Mamoran. So I did it for almost close to a year, but I don't think that was my dream.
Yes.
Because my dream has always been to fight for people. You see, so what I did is that I used to engage a lot on national issues during Bingu leadership. Yeah, because I graduated when Bingu was still president.
Okay.
Yeah, so I used to get involved in a lot of national issues. And yeah, that's when I was inspired really by people like Undure Mwakasungura, you know, the Rafika Ajats, the McDonald's Semberekas, Moses Mukandawiris. You know, when I was in the university, I could say, these guys are great people. They're doing a great job.
Yeah.
You see? So, yeah, they were also following me
Yeah.
when I was doing my activism in university. So when there was a vacancy at Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation,
You jumped right in.
I jumped on it.
Okay.
And I was a programs manager. And I felt I'm back home. But when I was leaving this company, as sales and marketing executive,
Yes.
my boss actually prayed for me.
Really?
You know, when you are saying bye to a good boss,
Yes.
you know, it's so difficult to say goodbye.
It's not easy at
But
all.
when I told him, I remember I was weeping, I was crying to
Yeah.
say, I'm leaving this good man.
Yeah.
But this is not my vision. I'm not a salesperson.
Yeah.
You know, when I was crying, he was smiling. So I said, is he fooling me?
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
then eventually he started praying for me. He said, Tim, I'm losing, but the nation is gaining, because I've always seen a lot of potential in you. The institution you are going to is a very important institution in this country. So please go and represent us. He prayed for me. I left the organization with blessings, and we've always been friends. And that is how I joined the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation.
That's our guest today in Cruise 5, Mr. Timoth Mtambo. He is the Executive Director of the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, but also the Chairperson for the Human Rights Defenders Coalition. Our second song in the program. We had Tupac Shakur with Changes.
Yeah, Freedom by Akon.
Freedom
Yeah,
by Akon.
I love that.
Let freedom ring. Today we're going to enjoy revolutionary songs, and now it's Akon. Let's enjoy this song. It's Cruise 5, and today we're talking to Mr. Timoth Mtambo. He is the Chairperson of HRDC, Human Rights Defenders Coalition, but also the Executive Director of the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, which has been, should I say, well known for defending rights of the marginalized communities, homosexuals, as a matter of fact. Your organization defends them.
Center for Human Rights.
Yes.
Yes. You know, for me, when I look at Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, I look at an institution, a citizens' movement. It's an institution that actually truly believes in the values of human rights and good governance. You know, the center has stood the test of time for the past over 20 years. That organization is as old as Malawian democracy. And I thank the forefathers of the institution. It has got a very strong foundation on human rights issues. So, indeed, we protect the rights of everyone. You know, the very nature of human rights, you have to stand for everyone. You have to protect them. So we have been fighting for the rights of the LGBTI.
Yes.
We have been fighting for the rights of persons with albinism. We have been fighting for the rights of prisoners. We have been fighting for the rights of elderly people. Some people, because they have grown old, people say he's a witch. At Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, we say no, everyone is entitled to protection before the law, and everyone is entitled to human rights. Yeah.
But some Malawians frown at this because they find the whole fight for lesbians, gays, bisexuals, intersex, the transgender, and the gender neutral and all that, they find that a bit unusual, and they say it's un-Malawian.
Now, I don't think we have something specific that we can call Malawian. Look, me, when it comes to fighting for the rights of people, I'll never be forced to be selective. I do not believe in majoritarian application of human rights, that you should support something because many people are happy with. So I can never pretend human rights are universal. What you are alluding to say Malawian culture or whatsoever, who can define Malawian culture? Because culture is actually relative. What is good in Chitipa might not be good in Chor, might not be good in Kota Kota. Even within Chitipa, you find that communities believe in different things. So me as an activist, a human rights activist, I'm guided by human rights values that all human beings must be protected. And you should understand this. When I'm fighting for the rights of the LGBTI, it doesn't mean that I'm fighting for a certain specific and new rights. What it means is that I'm fighting for the rights of those people to, one, to be able to access health care, to be able to access education, just because they're discriminated because of their sexual orientation. But so what we say is that it is totally wrong to discriminate this person because it's different to this person. We might be different, but we all have to be protected before the law.
But you see, some people will argue that this is an alien concept because growing up, you have grown up in Malawi. Yes. And you have seen Malawian communities, you've seen Malawian societies. You don't get to see people like that. And people say, no, this is not our agenda. It's an agenda of some forces outside this country.
That's totally untrue. Let me tell you this. That's why I said I do not understand if there is something that we can define to say this is Malawian or purely. Because look, even the democracy we are proud about, everything, our democratic constitution, it's from where? We adopted it from the West. You understand? And even the laws that actually even criminalizes same-sex relationships were adopted from the West. You see, those laws that criminalizes. But because we are selective, we have chosen to say, oh, this is a good thing, let's keep it. But the rest of the things, the clothes that you and I are wearing here, our forefathers were wearing leaves old years ago. So it is totally untrue and misleading to say something is Malawian,
yes,
because is an Malawian because it comes from somewhere. But let me tell you this: we have a duty and responsibility also to educate our brothers and sisters when we have been exposed. I've been in the classes of human rights. I've studied human rights. I understand human rights. So it would be totally wrong for me to throw the concepts and principles of human rights just to make sure that I suit the environment. Look, even if the whole world would be against me, when I know that I'm standing for a cause, that I know that this cause is good, I will not join the majority. I see a lot of people here in Malawi. They would want to associate with the view of the majority. For me, if the view of the majority is wrong, I'll actually call it wrong. I'm not a populist. I'm a kind of a person who would stand for a principle, no matter how difficult it might be to defend it.
Some people will say that these acts that we promote through LGBTI have got the danger of eroding the moral values that we hold, the things that define us as a people, as Malawians. These concepts are totally alien. We have never held them in high esteem, and they've got the danger of destroying the social cohesion that we enjoy and the moral uprightness that we are so proud of.
I refuse to believe that, and let me tell you one thing. My business is not to protect or to promote the act. My business is to protect that person from danger. Some people have been injured because people know that they belong to this group. Some parents have disowned their children because they say, I didn't know that my child is like this. I'll never pay the school fees for the child. So what I defend is that this person is different from you. Let's not hate him. Let's not condemn them because they're different from us. And actually, one thing that makes me to be passionate about human rights values is because they speak very well with my Christian principles. Let me tell you this. For me, I believe that Christianity is about unconditional love. Yeah. And Jesus Christ...
Christianity does not promote LGBT.
No, listen. And I don't promote LGBT.
It does not even protect.
I protect.
It does
it does. Protect. It does.
Christianity.
Let me give you a very good example. Christianity is there to provide unconditional love to everyone. And let me give you a concrete example. Most of the leaders of today, they would behave like Pharisees of those old days. When Christ came, you remember an example of a woman, a prostitute, a woman that was involved in adultery. And the Sanhedrin, leaders of the church, were about to stone that person to death. You remember that instance?
I do remember that story.
When that person was presented to Jesus, Jesus said, anyone who has never sinned should be the first to do that. Did they do that? They ran away. The teaching that we draw from there is that it's not our responsibility to judge. It's not our responsibility to condemn. It doesn't mean that Jesus was happy with adultery. Jesus protects good things. Jesus is luscious. But he was telling people to say, you do not correct by destroying.
Well,
you see,
I also remember a story where a whole village was burned down, a whole city, Sodom and Gomorrah, was burnt down because of sexual immorality. And the sexual immorality that is talked about there is the same rights that you are defending.
If you start talking about that, that's where some people misunderstand the Bible and say the Bible contradicts itself. But the Bible does not contradict itself. I believe so as a Christian.
What's your understanding of what happened at that time?
What happened in those days, you would remember that God could really punish people immediately when he was not happy with what was happening. And he could send the prophets to go and warn and educate people. And me, I would tell the prophets, the religious leaders, whatever they are, to be able to reach out even to the LGBTI or whatsoever. Because for me, I do not believe we have the powers to change the narrative of the Bible. Jesus Christ came with love, that with love and conditional love, you can change things. You understand? So that the Old Testament time and the New Testament time, there were some differences. There were some things that were changed when Jesus came here. So when leaders say the laws of the country should be defined by the Bible or a religious document, I say no to that, even if I love the Bible so much. Because the laws of the country should be defined by democratic principles. Because ours is a secular constitution. You understand? Where I differ with people. For people to be saying no, because the Bible says this is wrong, then it has to be scrapped off in our laws. That is totally wrong, because you cannot use religion as a justification for the laws. The danger is there will be a lot of contradictions. There are some things the Muslims wouldn't agree to, the Christians agrees to. So whose position are we taking? Hindus and the like. So the beauty of democracy, it brings diversity together, and it allows for diversities to prevail in a same context. So what I'm saying is that what is in the Bible should not be used as a justification for the laws. And what I'm saying is that the pastors, the bishops and whoever, they have the duty to reach out to everyone who they think whatever they do deviates from the norms which God gave to us. But human rights is a secular philosophy that actually recognizes that this is a human being, no matter how different he might be from you, but they deserve to be protected. So that's why, as a human rights defender, when I protect a person who is an LGBTI, I feel happy in the same measure when I protect a child, when I protect an elderly. But that does not mean that if I protect that person, because some people say, he's married, he has got children, but he's protecting these people. I say, what are you talking about? Do I have to be a woman to fight for the rights of women? Do I have to be a child to fight for the rights of children? So it will take a time for people to understand some of these things, but we shouldn't tire to educate each other so that we're able to understand these things better.
Our guest today in Cruise 5, Mr. Timoth Mtambo, our third song.
Third song should be Not Stupid by Burning Spear.
What's with all these songs? What's
Because
with all these songs?
I love the message. I don't just listen to the song, but
Not
I like...
Stupid by Burning Spear.
Yes. Those are the songs that speak about societal issues.
So let's up for this song, Not Stupid by Burning Spear. This is Cruise 5, and today we are talking to Mr. Timoth Mtambo, who has made headlines recently for leading the fight for human rights for different purposes and different things, really. But when you look across, you see that you perpetually come against the government of the day. And I've heard it said many times that you seem to have a personal hatred for the Democratic Progressive Party as a party.
No, I don't. You know, ever since I joined the human rights sector, we have always been guided by the human rights values. You know what? Every government, I remember last time when it was Bingwa Mthalika's time, they kept attacking us to say we hate, you know, Bingwa Mthalika. When it was Joyce Banda's time, others, including the DPP, they were celebrating our work. when they bounced back to power, they started hating us. So the point is, the government has got a duty. The government is a primary defender of human rights. It is the duty bearer. So when human rights violations continue existing, when the government is failing to fulfill human rights obligations, when we question them, they think we are against them. But we are not against them. I think the narrative should be, we love the government so much. Patriotism is not about massaging the current leadership, massaging the current government. Patriotism is about standing for the country that you believe in and defending the foundations of the country.
Well, there have been cases where members of the opposition political parties and even the political parties themselves do some acts that contravene the rights of people, and the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation falls silent conveniently.
Never.
The moment the government just misses a step, there you are.
Never. You know, when the opposition messes up, we have always spoken. And I would like to make this clear. We do not support any political institution. Even the opposition, if they mess up, we question them. You know, we are pro-Malawian. We always want to side with Malawians. When the money, the hard-earned taxes are being stolen like somebody's estate, we cannot keep quiet. We have to stand up. Because, look, there are a lot of inequalities in this country. Our people are actually really suffering. There is only a small group of people that are actually enjoying. So we need to make sure that the ground is leveled, that hard work should pay. When you work hard, Joab, you should be able to feel happy. Not that you work hard, you suffer, only the few are enjoying. You know, when people are being, tortured, persons with albinism, when we speak that the government is failing to do its job well, is that wrong? So I'm saying that let's understand, when the government is sworn in, it gets specific responsibilities and duties to stand for the welfare of the citizens of this country. That is the cardinal principle of the Constitution. So somebody should not run away. When the language of civil society and that of opposition is a bit similar, because you are holding the government accountable and you speak the same language. Today I speak that corruption is bad. Tomorrow Chirima says corruption is bad. Then somebody with a shallow thinking says, they are together. He's supporting the opposition. I'd say, my friend, no matter how many times you would say that a language, I will not stop saying I hate corruption and you have to stop it.
We do appreciate that, but sometimes it gives people a feeling that you are indeed working with other politicians. There was that audio clip that was leaked sometime just before the elections, I think, where there was a voice that sounded remarkably similar to yours, speaking to a voice that sounded remarkably similar to that of the MCP president, discussing issues of demonstrations. Oh, we need to organize demonstrations, we need to pile pressure on government and things like that. First, was that you talking in that clip?
No, and look, I don't have time really indeed to really talk about propaganda. I would really tell you that there is a lot of things that have been happening around. People would create a lot of things. You can agree with me that people have been able to mimic the voices of other people, and they have been able to say exactly a man speaking like a woman, and you believe that they do. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm looking forward for a day that somebody that would claim to say it's me that did this, and that is true, truly myself. So that is the time.
Awa ndiya Timoth Mtambo awa.
Ndizimene ndakanda kunena kuti
awa ndiya kumveka kuti awa ndiya a president MCP.
Ndikudikira nthawi somebody will bring that forward, and that's when I'll talk about this. This is one of the issues I'm ready and prepared to deal with. But one thing that I can tell you is that as a person, I cannot support anybody. If anybody in the opposition thinks that I support them, is in a deep shock. For me, I stand with Malawians and I fight for the rights of Malawians.
Ndifuse chonchi kupanga zionetsero sipa maeneo kandi tu kuti mukumane mukambirane akuluakulu nkhani ndipo titere mwina tichite zionetsero motere tikapereke kalata kwakuti imakhalapo nthawi yoti mukhoza kumana ndi atsogoleri azipaniza ndale kandi olamula kandi otsutsa kuti mukambirane kuti tili ndi zionetsero izi ndipo mwina mukhoza kufuna kuti tiyendere limodzi. Zimachitika zimenezo?
Ndinene motere kuti tikafuna kupanga zotere timapanga a public even announcement.
Okay.
Let me say this as human rights defenders, you have seen many times that we are calling for different citizens, including church leaders, including political leaders. We have said we are calling upon all of you to endorse the struggle. And people have publicly endorsed that. They have done that. But when it comes to planning for these issues, we plan as human rights defenders. If somebody wants to contribute to the planning, ideas and everything, they're welcome. So when we look at everyone that is coming even to our demonstrations, when we see political leaders coming to our demonstrations, we do not see them as politicians. We see them as citizens of this country.
If a politician offered support towards your demonstrations, would you receive that support?
What do you mean offered support?
Financial support.
Offered support? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't because
accept
I don't want to be. One thing I hate is to be controlled. I don't like to be controlled. Listen, if somebody who is a politician and brings the money, and I get that money, that means my agenda is hijacked. So it means he would want his agenda to come in and control. So if there is something that I protect, if a common Malawian comes contributing, for instance, when we're doing demonstrations, there have been some Malawians who are happy to say, no, we are fighting for a noble cause.
Are they?
They contribute. But we are very sensitive to get any support from a politician. The moment you get a support from a politician, that person would want to use also their agenda to influence your agenda. So I wouldn't allow that.
You do not get any financial support from politicians for the demonstrations?
We wouldn't. And I laugh when I see these propagandists, especially those in government, saying they're being financed by politicians. I say, what are you talking about?
It must be expensive, nonetheless, to organize such demonstrations. I mean, I'm looking at the recent demonstrations. You can see that a good deal of money and planning went into this, isn't it?
The power of commitment. When people are committed to the cause, when you unite, put your heads together, and it might sound very, very expensive when you look at the people and everything, but eventually, I'll tell you that it's commitment. I've never seen the passion and commitment from Malawians in seeing their country better than it is as I see it now. And as a person, I vow that I will never betray the will of Malawians in as far as fighting for a better Malawi is concerned.
Where do you get the financing to organize the mass protests that you regularly organize?
Malawians.
What Malawians? Which Malawians?
Pure Malawians. Even people like you. They will just say, Abwana, you are doing a good job. You know, there have been moments, let me tell you, Joab, this. There have been moments that a Malawian that is an average Malawian, he calls me to say, Abwana, I'm so happy with what you're doing. Send me the messages of your T-shirts. I want to print 20 t-shirts.
Are you...
They would print t-shirts, and you take 5 for his family, and you bring 15 that you can share with other people.
Are you willing to tell us some names of people who have supported you financially?
You know, I believe in confidentiality. Some people, they would say, no, I wouldn't want to be known. Do you know the problem?
It can't be all of them. At least there must be some people who say, this is the right cause that they're fighting for.
Yes. The problem is we are dealing with animals. We are dealing with a very difficult situation right now. Many people, they would even be afraid of their own small businesses. For their name just to be out here, they will start persecuting them. Now, the same people, they say business people are suffering. Some of them, they say, no. We look at the bigger picture. We can support you this. How? But eventually, let me tell you, mostly it's our own also contribution as defenders. So I can give you even the names of the defenders that you know, that also contribute the little.
Well, I would be glad to know those, but I would be glad to know about the others that you don't want us to know, because this then begs the question, how do we believe that what you're saying is true? You could be lying, you get support from politicians, possibly.
Never.
But you just can't mention them here.
And let me tell you this.
Isn't this the whole story of the Good Samaritan that we have heard?
No.
Good Samaritans.
No.
Oh, Good Samaritans.
It is not like that.
It is.
But I've told you that most of the Malawians that are able even to contribute to the cause, the people that are the really average. And one thing that I like about the whole thing, if it was rich people supporting us, I would really see that maybe they have got some specific influence that they would want to portray. But these are basic Malawians.
That's exactly the point.
Most of them, they have got maybe basic businesses that are actually grooming, and they would say, no, I wouldn't want to be known, I'll be attacked. So this, as a human rights person, let me tell you one thing, I also believe in confidentiality. You have to protect people. If they say, don't mention me, it would be so bad that I go in the air and start mentioning the names of people.
So
Malawians are supporting the struggle, the people themselves.
So we will never know who supports these demonstrations.
You have to wait. If someone, I think this is a good program. If somebody would say, please, I'm happy you mentioned my name, then actually I'll be, in the next program, I'll be very prepared to do that. Yeah. But
it's peculiar that as
the
many
Malawians
there's so many people who are financing you, I do presume, and interestingly and conveniently, all of them don't want to be mentioned.
Actually, and then I wouldn't say financing, like financing.
Okay.
You know, one thing that has made this movement stronger as well is that we do not have the urge and appetite of money. You know, money destroys movements. You understand? If this thing was being financed like, hey, big funding, this thing should have collapsed already. There are a lot of movements that have collapsed because of money. So you know what we normally do? If somebody says, I have something I wanted to support, you just say, no, then it's better you pay for PA system. We'll give you the contact directly to the person that would provide for the PA system. Then you just pay by himself. So me and comrades, we do not even touch the money. And people think there is a lot of money involved. You would be shocked when you hear that most of the things that happen, Malawians don't have to be paid to go to the street. We have seen some Malawians being financed by the government, using our own hard-earned taxes to give them to go to the streets. You don't have to force people to go to the streets. They will go because they believe in the cause. Right now, people are saying they want to see electoral justice and they want Gen Answer to go. They're coming by themselves. Joab, if I was to be paying all those people that come to the streets in all the districts, then I would be a Bill Gates in this country. But I'm just an average Malawian, and I'm proud that people are able to believe in the cause even when they're not given something.
Our guest today in Cruise 5, Mr. Timoth Mtambo, he says he's not a Bill Gates. but he does get money from people who don't want to be mentioned. But we'll let that one pass and we'll move on to our next choice of song, which will be actually our fourth song. What is it going to be?
I love Lucius Banda.
Lucius Banda. Wow.
I believe in his songs.
Yes.
He's always revolutionary.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think any of his songs, like there's this song he talks about in Tawi,
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I love that song.
That one is a fantastic song.
I love
a lot of Malawians love that song too, and I'm sure you're going to love this song from Lucius Banda. Let's sample it.
Inu agogoni yanganza londa gomantaba nalinde kabatana dirafuna cheche monga yobe ibanda abale wanga naliyani elo manizungulira owa mufuna nzikula omazana ndizulorija inali soresa panalibe mmoti yemwe zina langa nandida ya samunda kusira kazi oh tawi yanipuzisa chipunzisa tawi yanibonesa zintu wenzi ningate kuwaloza lero tawi yachemba tawi yanipuzisa chipunzisa tawi yanibonesa zintu wenzi ningate kuwaloza ine tawi yachemba Ose amabala liga marisobola pangwala amabwera chintu chikaona ono chipunziso ndachibeza ukafuna kuchova yambe watandiza mwili wako odila mawa ukafuna kujesa antu yambe wajesa bale wako odibalibe magamula chipale chitego tawi yanipuzisa chibunziro tawi yanionesa zintu wenzi ningate kuwaloza ine tawi yochepa tawi yanipuzisa chibunziro tawi yanionesa zintu wenzi ningate kuwaloza ine tawi yochepa
Let's talk about something that is on the lips of almost every Malawian right now, and that is the issue of protests that are being organized, calling for the resignation of the chairperson of the Electro Commission of Malawi, Justice Dr. Chenasa. Now, you are a member of the Malawi Electoral Support Network,
Yes, sir.
MEZIN, which in the previous election of 21st May deployed more than 1,400 monitors across the country to monitor the election, and they were running their own parallel voter tabulation center in Blantyre. And after everything was said and done, they compared what they were able to aggregate and what the Electoral Commission released. And it showed that there was a very marginal error, a very small margin of error. Actually, it was minus plus 2.2%, which essentially means that what the Malawi Electoral Support Network found from their parallel tabulation center is very close or almost similar to what the Electoral Commission announced as the results. And they issued a statement, and you appended your signature to that. And now, fast forward, we see you calling for the resignation of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. Why?
Yes, you did well, you asked this question, and this provides an opportunity for the nation to understand this, because actually apparently it has been used by many as propaganda. Now, let me make this clarification, and people should understand this properly. The Malawi Electoral Support Network was registered under Companies Act, and that institution is actually a composition of a number of organizations. Organizations with different mandates, independent to that of the mandate of Mason. But that means an organization can have a position that is even different from Mason. That's the power of freedom of association. Now, the organizations can send anyone to represent it in the board of Mason. And when you see a signature, there is the signature of the organization. For instance, PAC is part of that, and one of its officers he goes there to the Mason board. You understand? But eventually, after the elections came out, PAC had its own independent position, which they made clear to say, as PAC, we think we cannot stand on the mountain and say these elections were free and fair or credible. There were issues. You get what I mean? So what I'm saying is that the signature that was actually really there is the signature of an organization. You understand? And it's an organization that can actually dispute it or not, because I have the right to represent the organization and sign for it. And you have to understand that through the power of freedom of association, I head Human Rights Defenders Coalition. Human Rights Defenders Coalition is not a member of Mason. You get it? If we were doing our advocacy, questioning this under CHRR is a different scenario.
Okay. All
But
right.
this is Human Rights Defenders Coalition,
Okay, fine.
which believes to say, no, as a coalition, we think it would be totally wrong for us to pretend that there wasn't anything wrong. Now, me as a person now, me as a person, not as the chair of Human Rights Defenders Coalition, not as a director of Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, me as a person also, I do not feel that as a person, these elections were free and fair. So when you see a signature of, it's a representation of the organization. And people should believe that boards operate on consensus. It's the consensus of the board. And we gave those signatures before even the results came out. To say, as a commitment to the project, we give these signatures. It doesn't mean that those signatures we were signing on the very final date. We said, we believe in the project, and as a board, at the very end of the project, these signatures will be used. They're scanned signatures, by the way. These signatures will be used to validate the process. So I wouldn't want to dive into board issues, and I wouldn't want to bring the board of Mason here and start discussing issues that are actually even confidential.
I do respect that, and for that reason, I would want us to stick to the sides of this discussion which we can have, because Mason is not represented here. The member that sits on the Mason board represents the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation. Am I right? An organization which you head. In which case, any approval that this person gives to anything should represent the views of the organization,
Exactly.
which by extension represents your views. Now, your organization is a member of MESIN, and whoever you send, we don't really mind. It could be anybody. But this person appends a signature to a document. That document effectively avows that the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation believes in this, in whatever has been. I mean, that's the power of a signature. Whatever has been written here, we stand by it and we believe in it and we approve it. And by extension, that means you, as the executive, as the leader of that organization, have approved it. You would never append your signature to something that you personally do not agree to or that your organization does not agree to. In this case, what should we make of that signature by the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation on that document? Was it a sign of approval? Was it a way of saying we subscribe to what has been written in this document? Or it was just thrown there as we would want to believe?
Yeah, the point is, look, a PVT process, it's something that probably we can talk about for a long time, but let me tell this. I said the signatures were set aside, that they will be used eventually in the final process. And that does not stop an organization, Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, when they discover that, oh, we had signed this, but we think with what we have seen on the ground, this thing is actually questionable.
So it's actually backtracking.
In the similar measure that Public Affairs Committee had done that, to say, okay, this was signed, but we question that there was some problems. Now, look, the problem that I have is that after the PVT has been done, there were developments which came out later, which were not even probably captured by the PVT in details.
Okay.
There were a number of things to deal with the TPEX, etc., etc. And look, a PVT is sample-based. You understand? Sometimes you do a PVT, it's done. The results are actually gotten. But we need also to understand, to say, sometimes when the source is compromised, when the source has been compromised, everybody is tapping from the same pot. Whether there are 20 PVTs, they'll be tapping from also a similar process. So in short, one thing that I've said that as a person, I wouldn't want to condemn an institution in which I am as a person like Mason, in public. There might be internal issues as an institution which we can discuss. But as a person, I believe I have sufficient evidence to say things didn't go well.
Okay.
Can it be disputed by anyone, by myself, yourself, even Mason, that there was no TPEX on the elections?
Yes. Okay.
So I would rather advise that you should focus on my position now.
I will.
And the position of HRDC, an association I belong to, and I have the right
a member of MESIN
to associate.
Okay, all right.
And the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation is a member of MESIN.
Yes.
HRDC is not a member of MESIN.
Does CHRR disown the communique that MESIN issued after the election?
No, the center has not sat to discuss and have a position, just like the Public Affairs Committee had met and had a position on that.
So, in hindsight, do you think you were part of a transparent and accountable process, submitting your signatures and allowing it to be used on something that you would not have had time to look at and approve and put in? Because this looks like a two-timing to me.
I would prefer to say, as MESIN board,
okay,
we will have to deal with internal issues as MESIN. I don't think board issues, it's best to be discussed in public.
Okay,
but one thing that you can get from me is that the coalition in which I head, of which I'm the spokesperson, does not believe that the elections were free and fair.
Yes.
And there is evidence all over, even
Now let's go there.
parties are actually questioning.
Let's go there
this.
now.
And
you are
yes.
calling for the resignation of Justice Dr.
Yeah.
Chakhaza. Did you try to engage her before you started the protests?
Yes.
What kind
did.
of efforts were they?
We made efforts. We actually wrote her even letters. Even before. Now, this is one thing that I would want people to understand. Before the results were announced, these things, we raised them as Human Rights Defenders Coalition. When the chairperson of MEC was talking about the fact that there were 147 Madandos, the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation issued, not Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, Human Rights Defenders Coalition issued a statement, and we spoke in protection of MEC. In our statement, we argued to say people should not interfere with the operations of MEC. Can we give MEC enough time to look into the complaints? And we advised MEC. We said MEC should make sure that they should be transparent in the whole process when addressing the complaints. Because if you are not transparent, it will be difficult for people to believe that you have indeed addressed the complaints. Now, that was the first point which we raised. And this time, even Mason results were not out. Even MEC results were not out. And as a person, we also raised it. I raised it also at Mason board to say, as an institution, we have to be really proactive. Look at the mess that is happening around. There are a lot of rigging efforts. People are being beaten. People are being arrested. So I also raised this to Mason to say Mason should not be quiet at times like this. And when I was leaving Blantyre, I also raised to Mason board to say, you know, I had a coalition, and that coalition has got also keen interest in these issues. So some of these issues, I'll start raising them as a coalition. So the first entry point was when we issued a statement and we said people should give time to MEC, and MEC should address these issues in a transparent manner. That there are 147 Madandos. Dando number 1 is about ABCD, and this is how we have addressed
resolved
it.
Yeah, okay.
Dando number 2, this is how we have done. Do you know any Dando and how best they addressed it? Up to date, we are all in the dark. We just heard that we have addressed these Madandos. So that's why it's questionable to some of us that they are going to the villages, asking people to say, did you really sign, or did you put Tipex? Do you know who gave you Tipex? Such questions we're saying, if you said you addressed the Madandos, it means you addressed also Madandos on Tipex issues. Why are you asking people now? So indeed, that was the first one. The second one,
yes,
we wrote a letter to her to say we are not happy with the way you have handled things. And that letter gave the evidence. And we said, with this, we think we cannot trust you. As a coalition, we are saying the best you can do is to honorably resign.
Did she
Our
respond?
expectation was no.
She never responded.
She never responded.
Did she acknowledge receipt of the letter?
I never saw that. So that's where we have
So she
a
might
problem.
never have received the letter.
No. My friend, we send through different ways.
Okay.
We send to the office hard copy. I received her email, and I also sent it.
Okay.
And I sent to her WhatsApp, and it blue ticked. You know when on WhatsApp it ticks blue,
Yeah.
it means somebody has read. So the evidence is there. Even if somebody would say, I never received, we had a press briefing on the same letter.
Okay.
And we raised the same issues.
All right.
So I think there is no way that somebody would hide about it.
All right.
Yeah.
So you have now held several protests. You've organized several protests, and she still hasn't resigned. How far are you willing to go?
Or go as far as at the level that she would acknowledge that she has resigned. You know, this is a struggle that we are not going back, no matter what. We will fight up until this comes to an end.
Some people, and I'm sure you attest to the fact that some people have complained that these demonstrations are increasingly turning violent, despite continuous pleas from the organizers that they should be as peaceful as they can be. What's your comment on that?
As organizers, we continue condemning any form of violence and vandalism, and we're saying the responsibility to protect property and citizens is in the police. So the first thing is we have to ask the police, are they telling us to say they have failed to protect citizens and the property? They should tell us. Two, we have to ask Jane answer. And this question has been asked to us many times. I think the best person to respond to this question is actually Jane Ansah herself, because the question is, why is she insisting to continue being at the make when her employers are saying no? If you see across the country, now I can tell you that each and every district will start demonstrating right now, and in masses. And the people that are actually demonstrating, it's the age, the voting age. It shows that the people that voted are saying you failed to represent us properly. Then why is she insisting? So I think when we're looking at violence and everything, let's not just look one side. We should also question that person to say, why are you insisting?
Does it worry you?
Because it seems like people are very, very angry.
Does it worry you?
Why don't you step down? It worries me when I see any form of violence. It does worry me, because for me, I believe in protecting the rights of everyone. That's why we'll continue talking about the message that people should make sure that they operate within the ambits of the law. Yeah. And the police, they should do their job. When they see somebody doing something wrong, they should arrest them and will not protect anybody that is violating the law.
From your experience, how can we ensure that people still have got their voice and they still enjoy their right to protest, but at the same time be peaceful? How can we strike that balance? Because it looks like we're quickly losing the formula.
Yeah, you know, we have really tried to do that. That's why we invest in messaging as human rights defenders. And if you can see a demonstration before this one, it was peaceful. You know, it was very peaceful. We had a demo, people walked and they went back to their homes. Now, let me tell you the problem is, for the violence that is happening, there are a lot of contributing factors. One, you know, you can only control people to a certain level. When people are tired, it becomes almost impossible to control them. So what I would like to advise the appointing authority of Jane Ansah, that they should stop taking people for granted, because there will come a time that people, they wouldn't even listen to any organizer. They'll say, go to hell. We are here to protect our vote. So it should be a collective responsibility that people should think faster. Jane Ansah cannot stop this country. How special is she that everyone should be crying and fighting to say there is Jane Ansah? If she loves that position so much, maybe she gets a lot of salary from that. She should tell us how much, so that we can even ask citizens to say, how much can the retirement of Jane Ansah cost? If the government will pay her, citizens should also contribute that. Maybe we give her an addition on what the government will give her. Because people have lost trust. Section 12 of Malawi Constitution says those that actually administer responsibilities on behalf of the state, they do it on sustained trust. If there is no trust, it can't happen. The other factor that is contributing to violence is the behavior of the district councils, where people are applying to say they want to go to street, they'll stop them. They'll say, we will not allow you, like the Chakhaza in Blantyre. So people will be stopped, they'll fight, and thanks to the courts, we have got very powerful courts in this country. Every time we go to the streets, we have to take an injunction. And we should thank the lawyers. Most of the lawyers, they just help us also for free when we go and bow down to them. So you can literally see that when people are being stopped and we don't learn, even what happened during 20 July many years ago, in 2011, it's because of careless people people are furious with issues, they'll go and take an 11th hour injunction. And you stop people who are already mobilized. So what has been happening, the tactics of this government, the DPP government, they're very bad. What they do, they will deliberately keep quiet, and on the last day, they will write a letter that will not allow you to demonstrate. Yet people are already mobilized. So people will go to the streets furious. So the behavior of the district councils, which are highly politicized now, is also contributing to this. The police, there are moments that people are going back, and a very simple issue, they will start tear gassing people. People hate tear gases in this country. So that also contributes to a chaotic situation. So I would appeal that different stakeholders should do their job. One, the district councils, they should ensure that their job is not to stop people from demonstrating. Actually, when we write them a letter, we don't beg them. We don't beg human rights. We demand human rights. So it's just a notification. It doesn't mean that we're asking for permission. So they should do their job. They are the ones contributing to this. So the state, I would say our government itself, is contributing to the problem. Do you know that the demonstrations we had yesterday, the government went, the Attorney General was pushing for an injunction to say they should stop all the demos across the country. And the court kicked it out. And they gave us, an injunction that we should go ahead to deliver a petition 100 meters close to the State House. So you can see the behavior of the government is actually responsible for the violence that we have. Instead of convincing Jen Ansah to resign,
talking about
the only thing they can do is actually to bring propaganda and confusion.
Talking about that, if Justice Dr. Jen Ansah resigns now, have we seen the last of the demonstrations?
Yes, I can commit if they actually follow the petition, our petition. Yes, I would see the last demos. I want to make this clear as well. That's where even the confusion of the issue you are talking about messing comes in.
Yeah.
The Human Rights Defenders Coalition is not contesting the results. You should get it very, very clear. The political parties are contesting. That's why they're in the courts.
I understand.
It's an issue to say who was the rightful winner whatsoever. We are not politicians. For me, my interest is not who wins, but my interest as a citizen is that how do they win? If they win through questionable ways, I'll question those questionable procedures. So we are questioning the integrity of the whole process.
So, but what you're saying is if she resigns...
So if she resigns, we stop. Some people have been afraid, they think, if she resigns, then we start fighting Mutharika. No. We are civil society. Okay. That's not even in our agenda.
All right.
So if they are afraid, let me free them now to say if she resigns, demonstrations will be over because they're about Jen Ansah.
Quickly, what do you make of the efforts by the former president to bring you and Justice Dr. Jen Ansah and whichever party to a round table and discuss this amicably? Do you have any confidence in those mediation talks?
Yeah, that was the first engagement session that we had with the former president. I actually commend him that he intervened. And I would like to strongly say that leaders like him and other former presidents and vice presidents, when there is a crisis like this in the country, they should be able to intervene. And we even raised it in the meeting to say he has been so quiet for a while. Issues of corruption. Malawians have suffered for a long time, even for the past 5 years, the same government, who have had a lot of corruption cases. We told him that we wished you also raise the voice on these issues.
Okay.
Issues of nepotism, issues of killings of persons with albinism. So we are saying, we are happy that he actually intervened, and we strongly believe that perhaps he's doing that in good faith, and we are waiting to hear for the results. Okay. Because we hear he was meeting the President Mutharika yesterday. So probably it would be good for him to communicate to the country, to say, I met the President, and whether he has accepted to fire Jen Ansah or not, he should tell the country. So our interest is actually an outcome and the genuinity of the dialogue. We will not just go for the dialogue for the sake of dialoguing. If we see that somebody is pretending to dialogue with us and is not serious, we'll tell them that we do not believe in manipulative dialogue. We'll not go. But we gave him the chance to the former president, and we believe probably something will come out of that discussion.
It must be quite dangerous what you do. Do you ever receive threats? Do you ever receive attacks on you and your family or those that are close to you?
So much.
Even
the human rights defenders I work with, they receive threats every day.
Is that
and
so?
These are some of the things we're saying they must stop.
In what form do these threats come?
Some people, maybe overzealous people, they will just call you on a private number and say, stop what you are doing, we are going to kill you, we'll deal with you if you continue.
Have you ever received a call like that?
I do.
You get that?
do. And people would say, why do you hate the president? And some people have even attacked me directly. They will just come, why do you hate the president?
When you meet them in person?
Exactly. I would give you an example of Grayson Chapita. There was a moment we met, just meeting, and he starts attacking me. And he says I should pray that it was before elections, by the way. He said I should pray that the president should rule, because if they win, Malawi will be so difficult for me to stay. I'll be their #1 target. I said, what are you talking about? You see, so people attack. And we have been seeing in social media, saying, no, we have to attack him, we have to attack his family. You know, one thing that I would like to say is that I detest threats. I don't like to be threatened. I don't like people that threaten me. You understand? I do not want to threaten anyone, even personally. Okay. As a person, I believe in living in harmony and peace with each other. And that should not mean that we should become docile citizens, that even when wrong things are happening, we should be clapping hands. No, that does not mean because we want peace, then we should become puppets and the docile citizens. So what I'm saying, threats are there.
Yes.
And I'm actually telling those that are behind threats that they should stop, because those threats will not build Malawi. This country will be built by doing right things, having right goals and targets, and making sure that they're implemented. We have to walk the talk, not just flowery language. So threatening me will not change Malawi.
We've just been talking about your family, but I realize that we haven't really gotten to know what your family is. Tell us more about your family. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am married to a beautiful and intelligent lawyer.
Okay.
And we have 3 kids,
okay.
Peace, freedom, and justice.
Those are the names of your children?
Exactly. These are the values I stand for.
So what are they?
And the firstborn is peace.
Okay.
The secondborn is freedom.
And
the other one is justice. Actually, the 2 boys are twins. So freedom and justice are twins.
Are there other values that you believe in?
I believe, actually, I believe in transparency.
Okay.
Accountability. I think democratic values.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so why I'm asking that is, then we should be expecting transparency to come up a few years from now, and accountability, and then maybe. So that would mean like almost 7 children from you.
Oh no. I don't.
You have
think
to name them.
I do not think I'll go that far. Joab, that would be too much.
But those are values that you believe in.
I would rather start piling other values in. But look, ultimately, I was very careful in selecting these.
Okay.
You know, I believe justice is a value, a virtue of the highest order.
Okay.
You know, where there is no justice, there is no peace.
Yes.
You see, that's why you can see people Malawians are known to be peaceful.
Yes.
But this time around, people are saying, Malawians are slowly becoming
violent.
You know what I mean? They're becoming violent. You know, it's because there is no justice.
Okay.
So we need to put our house in order for peace to prevail.
All right.
For us to be free.
Okay.
So I believe ultimately in these 3 values, and I know the values of human rights, the values of democracy.
Be careful the values you believe in. You might just have the same number of children in the end. He has got justice, peace, and freedom. And he says he believes in the other freedoms, in the other values as well. But we don't know yet if we're going to have... all right, we're going to stick to the three. And talking about sticking to things, I would like to stick to a few set of questions that I've got for you so that we get to know more about you and what you've been up to. Okay. Is that okay with you? That's fine. All right, fine. So let me ask you first to tell me your full name.
My full name is Timoth Simbega Chimanyamarango Mtambo.
Do you have any tattoos?
I think traditional tattoos.
Do you have any piercings?
Piercings?
Yes, like ear piercings or anywhere?
No.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever shot a gun?
No.
Have you ever cried over someone?
Yes.
Have you fallen in love before?
Yes.
Have you killed a chicken before?
A chicken? Yes.
Have you killed a goat before?
No.
Have you gotten into a fight before?
Yes, I used to be a boxer in my childhood.
Have you gotten any surgeries?
No.
Have you ever been hospitalized?
Yes, when I was a child.
Have you ever donated blood?
Yes, I've done that.
Have you ever smoked weed?
I've never.
Would you smoke weed?
No.
Have you broken someone's heart?
Yes, I'm human, so it's normal.
It's normal. Have you had a crush on someone?
Yes.
Yes, he has. That's because you're human as well.
Exactly.
And I do understand that you speak... There's so many local languages from Chitipa.
Yeah. I speak Ndari, Sukwa, Lambia, Vandia, Namwanga, Mambwe. I speak this language is called Ngonde, a bit of Nyakyusa. Yeah. So I'm able to understand all the languages in Chitipa and Karonga.
In just a minute, just tell us that. Just speak in your language. I'd be thrilled to hear you speak in your language.
Yeah.
Yes.
We mwaona we.
Where?
Mudakiza.
Ndakiza he.
Hey, mwaomba. Kunyumba kudakiza.
Kunyumba kurakiza.
Ndaga we. Abana udinabana we Joab.
No, une. How do you say I don't have children?
I don't have children. Intena bana ha.
Intena bana ha.
Rori ichamabwira tukomane pamuti tuingangara panandi we mtu.
We will meet chamawira.
Kuzodia kulichete.
Kulichete.
Awe umura mukukazako. Unda mchireko na kamuromo. Wabuza tumutambo wakura mkankani.
Well, I don't know what he's talking about, but what I can hear is the language of music. I'll find a song in the program. What is it going to be?
No, I will not have any problem if you take any revolutionary song from Lucius Banda.
Lucius Banda all over again. And that's how we wind up. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best.
Same here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Chopa chatu chinali nyama za kutengo Maso hambili angu kalila tukuba Chidapita kuti chilungamo Chikondi chidata chasala ni nyama Lili kuti msanga sikolija Loma wana kangolila Watindiwana wasatijala Lili kuti msanga sikolija Loma mpongo sinkangotawa Kutawa njoka wasatindeu Mvetsera mwana iwe Choti uchite Silimbikile weka Takulu pirile Mundu aliyense Kopeza hali